It was 25 years ago when a local family converted an open field on the outskirts of Rapid City into what is now a local landmark. Fort Hays Chuckwagon is inspired by equal parts history, Hollywood, and homesteading. To see what they are now is one thing. To see how they got there is another, as we go along the way to a family-run tourist attraction on Highway 16. On a hot August day, a wooden fence along a dusty gravel road leads us past a stack of worn wheels and barbed wire, where a peek through an old wagon reveals Fort Hays Chuckwagon.
Both my great-grandparents homesteaded here, and so consequently I have roots that go clear back to the 1881.
So what does that have to do with this? Turns out everything. Because more than 100 years later, Hollywood came searching for sites to shoot a movie that would end up winning 7 Academy Awards, Dances with Wolves.
The starting was very simple. The movie set was built on my great-grandfather's homestead in Caputa, South Dakota. A cousin of mine actually leased the property to Kevin Costner, and they built Fort Hays as a Western movie set.
And once the Hollywood folks left, time passed, one thing led to another, which ultimately led to here.
We bought the movie set, took it completely apart, moved it piece by piece up to this property, which is my kids' horse pasture.
They built a Chuckwagon building at the same time to serve meals, including a theater for live entertainment. Pictures in a photo album show the movie site, the moving buildings, and memories of building a future. In June of '93, they opened their doors. Now, Herman says they draw 70,000 visitors a year here. Some folks like the 99-cent all-you-can-eat cowboy pancakes that fill the whole tin plate. For a quarter, a player piano can take you back in time. But he says the Chuckwagon supper and Western music show is their mainstay, sometimes drawing as many as 400 to 500 people a night.
And that goes on every night at 6:30. Roast beef, baked potatoes, baked beans, baking powder biscuits, spice cake, applesauce, lemonade, coffee. Everybody gets the same meal.
On the walls, picture after picture of the making of the movie.
This is the actual headquarters building where Lieutenant John J. Dunbar went in to get his orders from that crazy major. And he was sitting here at the desk, and he walked up and stood about where I'm standing here. And the supply house building was a facade. It had 3 sides on it. The back wasn't even in the building.
But the supply house facade has since been completed. In fact, Herman's standing inside it. It's now the gift shop.
Our long-range dream is to have a working, functional, turn-of-the-century town square where they can see the way things might have been done 100 years ago. Well, we're actually making a binder twine rope out of hemp. Now, this is nothing more than baler twine.
And not all their old West Town buildings are from the movie.
This building is the original post office from Provo, South Dakota, which was an ammunition dump near the town of Edgemont, South Dakota. This was my children's horse barn, and we actually moved it from one edge of the property back here to this area, and this is where we put together the tin plates that we make. And
this was Fort Hays in August of 1993. Open, it says on the left side. Cowboy pancakes, it says on the right. This is Fort Hays now, celebrating their 25th anniversary. He says he paid $65,000 for those 5 buildings from the movie site.
And I told my 6 kids when we bought the movie set and started moving it, it was going to be good for 5 years. 5 years from now, nobody's going to remember the movie, and we just spent an awful lot of money moving some buildings and nobody's going to remember. And I was as wrong as I could be. People are still coming here.
Sometimes being wrong is the best thing to be, lasting not only 5 years, but 25, and still growing. Cool along the way, please call or email us to let us know. There were multiple movie sites for Dances with Wolves. Fort Hays was a major site, but not the only one. They also offer packages, which include a bus tour through the hills, along with breakfast, dinner, and the music show. And by the way, they're open 7 days a week, 153 days a year.
They're making me hungry.
Yeah, they had good food. I can attest.